I'm Naomi.
I'm Liv.
I'm Eve.
And we're back.
That
And
guy
it's
Fox.
like, yeah. We're hiding Beth with berries. I guess we can move it. You want to move it between you guys?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move it.
Here.
Exposing her
All my
paint.
crap. Yeah.
Exposing other stuff. So happy New Year. New Year is in full swing. We hope you had a good holiday.
You look like a hobo.
I do. Oh, because I'm wearing my flannel shirt.
It's just your flannel shirt and your
hat.
hat.
I'm cold. I was cold when I left the house, and I had just come from work, and I had an actual coat on, and I was like, I'm just gonna wear my flannel shirt. But then I get over here, half an hour later, which is another story. This is a 10-minute drive, and I was here 40.
For me, it's a 15.
No, it's been an hour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It took me an hour to get 10 minutes down the road. Anyway, by the time I got here, I was like, ooh, it's cold. But I'm wearing this because I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So I look like a hobo.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Apparently, I look like a hobo.
Or a longshoreman.
Well, I'll go second because I can take this hat off sooner.
Okay.
Eve's
So
going
I'm
first.
going first. Right now, I'm working on hands-on design, summer basket, the summer basket. And I'm working on this pattern right here, and I don't know what is wrong with me. Will you look at how close that is to the edge?
Oof.
I'm going to regret that, because that's going to start fraying. Yeah. The other one, I could finish it right now, but
So you could zigzag it, or I mean, with your hand by hand or something. Whip stitch it by hand. If you're...
I know how to sew.
Well, I know, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I could go. I could
Because
get it
it's
to
such a
finish, so it won't
short
unravel.
edge.
But it's going fast and not fast because these X's. Show the pattern. Have her show the pattern here. But the X's that are in this, they basically go all the way down and all the way down. This lighter red color, but I can't put in a lot of the other stuff like the white because I'm afraid of counting it wrong. So I'm doing it color by color, even though I could do all those X's right away. But, you know, we do what we can. Okay, and now, before I talk about other cross stitch, I have a gnome. This is the nose, which is supposed to be sewn on right here.
So cute.
I finished the nose, and then I said, I'm done for the day. But I might want to make the nose again. I'm not really happy with what it looks like. But there. So all I have left to do are the arms and the hands, and that has to be stuffed. I'm wondering if this is supposed to be stuffed. I don't know. It doesn't look this poochy on the picture.
Like it sticks out too much.
Yeah.
The nose is too big.
Look.
Yeah.
So it looks like it should be like that.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe I counted wrong or something, so I'm going to look at it carefully. The beard, in the picture, it goes down to the bottom of the gnome. So I don't know if I overstuffed my gnome, because I counted the rows before I finished it off. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, making sure it was the right number of rows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was. So why is it so short? Because the gauge has got to be the same, not the same person crocheting it with the same needle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care. It's my gnome, and he can have a short beard if he wants to. But we were laughing.
Not the beard.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that, and it's a little on the wobbly side.
Oh.
I wish I had filled the bottom with something heavy so that it would stand up straight, but I'll work with it. And then last year's last WIP-GO challenge, I hear the bells. I did get in my 10 days. on, this is the
Drum.
yes. Just a little bit further than I was last time because, realistically it was like, what, 2 days or something? I don't know. And I did not put in stitch 1 on New Year's Eve, so, because I was busy. Busy doing other things. And here is winter berries. I'm working on the berry called Winter.
That's creative.
Yeah. This one right here. And I'm almost done.
Oh wow,
Yeah, look.
that's
Ooh.
pretty.
Yeah. I gotta do the word burr and one snowflake over here, and there's like a couple of little snowflakes, but it's stitching up really fast. And I do not stitch writing fast, but this is going fast. So maybe because the
You've only had to
snowflakes.
count it one time. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, the day is young. So there's that. And then I had 2 hours on winter reindeer. Beth will tell you why. Not quite 2 hours. But I got his little tail finished, his front white finished, his little collar finished, the little dots on his back. So now I just have to continue with brown and go down and do his feet. But while I was doing this, I noticed that I had started too soon for this. You'll see when you see the picture, where the brown, where it was supposed to go, over and then down again. And so I'm missing 2 brown stitches. One here, one here. But it could have been worse. So I'm not going to complain about that. And this worked, having it in my what's it called? Stitching that you take with you places.
Mm-hmm.
Except my scissors, which are supposed to be in there, I don't know where they are. I have to look for them. I don't remember taking them out. And then I had been thinking for some time about a temperature chart. Now, here in Phoenix, yeah, the summer is ugly hot from, May to late August. However, within that ugly hot is a variety of temperatures because, to us, 100 degrees, which may be very hot somewhere else, is a nice spring day. And so I've been wanting to have a temperature chart just to kind of see the variety of temperatures that we get, that it isn't all hot, and that it does get cold, like Naomi's cold, right? So, but the ones that I'd seen were so big, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I saw Pam's drink, temperature drink chart. It's like, that is huge. And what would I do with that? I don't drink, And I saw a butterfly one. I'm like, well, that's kind of nice, but just, And then Stitching Book Club, the person that does that, I saw a post by her of this one. And I love it. It looks very Southwest, doesn't it?
Oh, that's really cool.
Isn't it pretty? And so it doesn't look like a temperature chart, but each little arrow is a different day.
Oh, wow.
So like this is January,
Uh-huh.
and then you go back this way for February.
Oh, how neat.
And I like she put where you can, around 2023, you can personalize it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's flowers that go from hot to cold at the bottom. And it has a really pretty border. So I haven't gotten really far on that. Okay, it's January 5th. how far could I get? I've decided that once a week I'm going to work on the border and carry it 10 to 20 stitches this way and 10 to 20. I'm not going to try to get the whole border in.
Yeah.
And my piece of fabric is much bigger than what it actually needs, because it's supposed to finish out at 8 by 10 if you're doing 14 count or 28 count fabric. Oh, and I adjusted. Give me that.
Oh, the severe?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says severe at 105.
Yeah. So I looked at the
That's not severe.
what they had there for the severe climate, and the highest temperature that was listed there was 105 plus. Well, it would be the same color the majority of the summer if I did that. Yeah. So I put the highest temperature at 115 plus.
Yeah.
And grading on a curve.
Because then down here where it's supposed to be 0 to 4, yeah, it's never going to get 4 degrees here. So even the temperatures I have here for that, it's not going to get to 14. It's just not.
Yeah.
So I just adjusted it up 3 units up so that it would be more realistic for this area, because there will be variance between 100 and 120.
Mm-hmm.
And some summers it doesn't get up to 120. Other summers it gets over 120. So
some summers the airport tarmac melts.
Yes. The planes can't fly because the tarmac melts. There was a little girl that got burns because she fell on the concrete.
Yeah.
Just and just like people, any severe weather, whether it be severe heat or severe cold, people don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching some snow fails that people, walking out on a frozen lake. Well, no, because unless you know what you're doing, don't assume.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, people have had some horrible accidents this year with that. So, yeah. Anyway, that
is really neat.
The temperature chart.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I haven't done
really
today's,
cool.
but I think because to me that's something where I would look at that chart and go, I want to do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a temperature chart. It looks like a Southwest chart, which interests me. So
that's
cool. I saw one that was a tree, and each leaf was a day.
Yeah.
So it was really nice looking.
But that one's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just looked like a tree, with colorful leaves. It didn't look like a chart,
Well, and I was really wanting something that wasn't, this big giant piece of fabric.
I know that I thought about doing a temperature blanket or something.
Mm-hmm.
I just worry I'm not disciplined enough, and then I'd have this thing.
That's what I like about this, is that each day is just this little arrow.
Yeah.
And if I do it every day or once a week or whatever, it's not that much to stitch. The hard part is going to be doing the border and this floral thing at the end and all that, but it'll get done.
Do that next year.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be done this year or within the temperature time. But I was really happy to see that, and it is by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts, 2023 temperature SAL. I got it off of Etsy.
That's
and she does the Stitching Book Club stuff, and I just put it on this. I dyed this fabric. Remember, with my hands, I just kind of grabbed it, and and it was just a piece of. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, and I measured it, and it's a little too wide, a little too long.
Better than too small.
Yeah. So that's
cool.
me.
All right, I'm going next. Sorry, I'm backing up. I'm tinking, as they say. knitting backwards because I made a mistake. Okay, so I'm wearing this hat because it's Hannah's and I finished it. This is my hand spun yarn. Beth says I look like a hobo, so I guess I'll take it off. Now I have hat head, but I'm really proud of this. I had to change. Remember, I had those two balls of the yarn, and I thought that they were similar in color, but they weren't. So the top is very dark. I had to start the new ball at the top of the hat. And the way this hat's constructed is that I started here at the back, and you can see the color difference. I started. You remember it was that flat piece, and I knit all the way around this way, and knit the two ear flaps, and then came around to the back, and then I joined it with a Kitchener stitch. That's the back there. And then it naturally folded. If you remember, there was a stitching, a slip stitch that let it fold easily. And then I went along this outside, after I joined it in the back with the Kitchener stitch, I went along the outside here and picked up all the stitches all the way around and then knit the hat this way. And I ran out of yarn right at the top. And I started... that other skein had dark in the center and very light, almost white on the outside. So I thought it'd be better to start in the center, but maybe I should have started it on the outside. But Hannah says she doesn't care.
It looks cute. It
So,
looks like a little purposeful design.
Color change at the top. Mm-hmm. And so it's better without my glasses, but it fits. You can kind of, like it says do not block on the pattern. I think I mentioned that last week, but I think I am going to block it because it'll help these stitches full and get a little bit denser up here.
Why would you not block it? What would it be?
I have no idea. I don't know why it says that. But I read on Ravelry, a lot of people were like, I blocked it anyway. But I know it's going to take a long time to dry because this is double thick. But it's nice because it'll really come down, like way down. She doesn't have glasses. I mean, she has sunglasses and stuff, but it comes way down over your ears. I couldn't do it with my glasses on but it'll be really nice in the wind for her. So I think I didn't block it yet because I didn't want it to be drying before we recorded.
You mean you didn't want to put a wet hat on your head?
No. And I don't have a good way to dry it. I need like a bowl or something, or to sit it on. But anyway, so I finished this. So I really worked hard to get this done, and she's very happy with it. It's very rustic looking. So that was my accomplishment. Sorry for the hat head hair. And then I decided to do WIP-GO. So I was like, I have all my project bags on a coat tree in Hannah's room, and I took them all down and put them all in the living room. Man, my hair is like flat as a pancake. And I went through every bag and looked through it, and I think I only found like 17 total. And a couple of new ones that I wanted to make. So I did put some double on here. But so one of the ones I knew that 6 and 10 had already been called for WIP-GO, so I finagled and put two things that I wanted to work on there. One is a sweater like Hannah's for her best friend, Jordan. She tried on the sweater at school and loved it, and she's like, I want one. So she and I have been texting back and forth, and we decided on a yarn color and everything. It's going to be similar, but it's going to be a sister, not a twin. And she wants a different neckline and I think a little bit smaller sleeves. So anyway, I need to order the yarn for that. But that's my number 6, and I have to order the yarn and start it. And I said work 15 days, so sometime between now and the end of January. And then the other thing I put on there was this vest. Let me pull it up. I'm going to show a picture here of it online. I mean on my app. But this is the start of it. This is a pattern by the yarn, I don't know who makes, I think it might be Lion Brand, makes this yarn called WIP-GO. I don't know if maybe sometime last year I probably brought it. It's that kind that it comes in a instead of a ball, it comes in a tube like this.
Yeah, I remember.
And they had a pattern like a picture at the store, and I sent it to Hannah, and she's like, "That's really cute." And I'm like, "Do you want me to make it for you?" And she's like, "Sure." So I started it, but there's a couple of problems with this pattern. But she saw it in the bag, and she's like, "Oh, finish that for me. Finish everything for me first." So I picked this up, and I started working on it last night. Because it was on a holder, and so I put it on my nice needles and started working on it, and I was like, you know what? I hate this yarn, and I don't like this pattern. Part of the problem is the pattern is not written well. It has a stripe pattern, so you're supposed to take that WIP-GO yarn, and it's in this sort of variegated, like this color, it's like a color
wheel
okay. Kind of, but it's all connected, yeah. Right? But for this pattern, it tells you to take it all apart, to go color by color, and pull it apart.
And what's the point?
And then reorganize it into this pattern. And I'm kind of like, I really rather what they had just made it with the yarn as it came, and you knit something, and as it comes, that's how it turned out. But no, it wanted you to take it all apart. And then it's like 4 rows of this color, 4 rows of that color, 8 rows of this color, or 4 rows of that color. But in addition to that very complicated, A, B, C, D, E, F, A, E, A, E, A, B, B, E, C, like that, literally. And, E for 8 rows, and then B, and then C for 4 rows, and then B, and then like that. And so you have to follow that pattern. But then there's a 4-row stitch pattern that doesn't really technically coincide, because it tells you to do 16 rows of the ribbing. But if you do 16 rows, it says do ribbing for 3 inches, but do 16 rows of this color. So depending on the gauge, the 3 inches or whatever it is doesn't coincide with the 16 rows of color. Does that make sense? Because you're doing inches rather than rows. And then I was doing it, and I remember the pattern has, I don't know if you can see, I finally got it to work, but there's color blips where the color changes. There's a blip of both colors, the blue and white. Now, normally, when you change colors on the right side, on the knit side, rather than the purl side of a pattern, the color blips show up in the purl side, which you would consider the back of the work. I don't have any examples to show you with me, but that's normally what you do. So that because it was 4 rows of a color and the stitch pattern was 4 rows, I was changing color on the knit side, and I'm looking at the sample in the picture, and my work, and there's no color blips, and there's color blips on here. So I went to Lion Brand or whoever, I have to look. I have it right here. I went to their website or whatever, and I actually posed a question, and they actually answered me. And I'm like, are the color changes supposed to take place on the wrong side so that you get those color blips? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, then why didn't you write the pattern that way? Because it wasn't specified. So you're supposed to follow the color pattern and follow the stitch pattern and hope to God that you don't mess either one of those up. So I had done 6 rows of the yellow, and I'm counting and counting. I'm like, I don't think this is right. I think I fudged it long ago to make it work with the color blips. And then I'm like, but I can't go back. I can't take this all out because I've already cut this yarn. I cut this white amount to be this exact white amount. So if I, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
can't like undo the whole sweater and start over. Which is kind of what I was wanting to do last night. And I thought about it and I thought about it. And then on top of that, I'm using this yarn and I need to see who it's by before I trash it. Hang on. Because I don't want to say it's Lion Brand if it's not. It's acrylic, you know. And so acrylic yarn is acrylic yarn. It's Yarnspirations. Oh, it's Karen. Sorry, Lion Brand. This is a Karen yarn, Caron, and not Karen as in complaining. I'm going to be a Karen and complain about Karen. But it's got just a not natural feel about it, I guess. And at first I didn't care, but when I was knitting with it last night, I'm like, this is going to be heavy. And I don't know, she really likes the colors. She was kind of, this morning when she woke up, I was like, I hate the vest. I'm not making it for you. She's like, but these are good color inspirations, she says. And here, I'll show the picture of it. It is very cute, and it was attractive to me when I first saw it. So, but then reading it, and I'm like, I have to do this whole thing. And it is bulky yarn, so it goes fast. So, I don't know. Then I have to make the whole back, and I have to make that V in the vest, and I mean the V-neck, and I'm just like, it was one of those moments where I was just like, joy. No, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take off my hobo shirt because I'm hot, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to. I don't want to do it. So I was like, so even this morning I was like looking through Ravelry, like maybe I can make her another vest, or maybe I can find other yarn, or maybe I can do something. I'm like, wait a minute, she didn't need a vest. She just, you know. So I told her this morning, and she was like, well, but good color. She said good color inspo, as she said, inspiration, and she really likes this color combination with the yellow and peach and all that. She really likes it, and so, but I'm like, I don't want to do this, and I don't. I said I can take this color inspiration, and I can take the bulky yarn, and I can take this pattern, and I can make it for you in a yarn that you would like and that I would like, because I just don't like it, and I'm afraid because it already kind of looks old, doesn't it? It has a faded look to it, and I don't think the colors.
It looks very 70s to me.
Yeah,
but you know,
which is her vibe.
But you know,
really,
part of
why
you don't like it might have to do with the pattern. You just
I really don't like the pattern.
You're so frustrated with the pattern that little things about the yarn.
Yeah, and you know, I should have rejected it as soon as I read the pattern that said, buy this yarn and then cut it apart. And I cut it apart, and I balled it up into 10,000 balls in little bags. I labeled them all. I did all that work. So part of me is like, I should just do the thing. But
does she have something she shouldn't have?
It sounds like it.
Yes, come here. So anyway, we had to save something from the dog. I just was completely frustrated and uninspired by this. So I feel kind of bad, but it's not like I didn't just make her a gorgeous sweater. So I think I can just put this away and just chalk it up to... At first she was like, well, can I have the yarn? And I was like, yeah, but you're going to hate it. I don't know, maybe she wouldn't. But, I mean, I can give her what I have left, and I can even take apart what I have there, and she can make something out of it.
Yeah, that's it.
If she wants to crochet something for herself. So I think I will, or maybe I'll mail it to her in a box. But what's funny is, so I was like, okay, I got to take that off my WIP-GO. What's funny is, as I was looking through the bag, to when I did the WIP-GO, when I did my inventory, I just saw that vest was in the top, and I assumed it was just all that yarn in all those bags in there. But then this morning or last night when I was, I looked down there and I'm like, what do I see down there? And I see these gorgeous little balls of yarn. So these are, I got these from Tempe Yarn and Fiber, and they're a local dyer here in Arizona who makes, who dyes yarn with natural substances. And somewhere, and I think I probably talked about these. I'll have to go back and look at our videos. I'm pretty sure I talked about these a year ago or whatever.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I can't remember what they're dyed with. I think one is Palo Verde. Might be this one. And this one is maybe one, no, avocado turns out pink.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. I can't remember what these are dyed with. But they're natural dyes made in here in Arizona. And so I had started a, it's like a boomerang shape, I believe, shawl by Casapinka called it's like botanicals but with a QUE. And I changed needles. I had a wooden needle. And I changed to my Chai Goose, which you're really not supposed to do. And you can kind of tell my gauge is different from here to the last few rows I did, but I don't care. And so this is a 2-color shawl, and because these colors are so close, I'll put a close up, but because they're so close, you kind of almost can't tell. But up close, you can see the green and brown pretty nicely. And I thought, well, that'll just be a nice sort of natural color. Like, see if I was wearing it with black, it would look really pretty. Just kind of, and brown tan pants or something. I think it would look really nice. And it's just like a. Here's a, let's see. Here's an up close kind of picture of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in just greens and yellows and stuff. At least I think I'm correct about the shape. I mean, it is curving, and it has some lace sections and stuff. And it's going to take me 1,000 years to make it, but I don't care because what else do I have to do? Oh wait, is this the right shawl? I think this is the right one. Wait, I could be wrong. Oh, this isn't the right shawl. That's not the right one. I don't know why I thought that. It's not. Oh, it's Desert Botanicals shawl. That's right. I'm lying to you.
You do that a lot.
I know. I lie. I lie all the time. It's also by, that's right, the Botanique is like 4 colors. This is a 2-color shawl. And this is in like a mint and a variegated. It's supposed to be like a solid and a variegated. And it's like mint and speckled in this pattern. That's right. I forgot. It's called, oh, that's right. This pattern is not called Desert Botanicals. I named it Desert Botanicals because that's the name of the dyer. I named it in my app. This is called the Breathe and Hope shawl. Ugh, I'm so wrong. I'm lying. I'm just a big fat liar. So this is the Breathe and Hope shawl. Just rewind everything I just did. It's the Breathe and Hope shawl, and these are Desert Botanical yarns. So the Breathe and Hope shawl was a free pattern that Casapinka put out during the pandemic. I believe what it was you got it for free from your local yarn shop when you bought yarn. And that happened in 2020, and now you can just get it on Ravelry, I believe. But at the time, she gave it to local yarn shops. Any local yarn shop could have it, and if you purchased yarn from them during the pandemic, you would get it for free. So it was her way of helping those shops when everyone
stay in business.
Yeah. It was really, she's really great that way. And so I had always wanted to make it. I didn't make it during the pandemic, obviously. And I, you know what I realized? Back here, I didn't put a brown row in. I messed up. Anyway, so I decided to put this in the
your board, your rules
in my board instead of that vest. So that's what I did. And the other, like I said, the other one on the call is Jordan's sweater, which I'm gonna start. And then I have like a free space. The free space, I don't know what I'm gonna do with. What do you do with the free space?
You can either just have a free space, or
so like that month you only do one thing.
No,
or
two.
Because
she includes it with two other ones.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But on that free space, I have to work on my own patterns, so that I will
do whatever you can do.
Like
whatever
a new
you want to
start
work on,
or whatever.
or if you want an extra time on one of the other projects or whatever.
Else. Yeah. And so one of the ones I have on here, which I might wind up replacing because I realized I really need, as I call it, bust knitting, and so I've just been working on my little sock to match my other sock. And I don't know, it kind of happened miraculously, but look, they're kind of coming out the same pattern wise.
it's a good looking sock.
Yeah, it is a good looking sock. And so I just pull this out and knit wherever I am, whatever I do, because this little bag fits right in I got a new purse. It fits right in my new purse, and so I may take it off the board and just have it be my whatever everyday knitting. So that's my WIP-GO board. I'm still stretching my legs on that, like I said. And then I remembered another WIP. I think it's hiding in my box, which is why I didn't pull it out in the inventory parade I did. And it's that headband by that Native American knitter that I got through
You've never
Knit
studied
Stars.
You never started it.
I did start it.
Did you?
I did start it, but I only had like this much done on it. So I need to put that on here on one of these repeat spots.
Or you
can
can
put it in the
replace.
free space.
Yeah.
You can replace.
Because I don't have a free space on mine. I just have a.
Yeah. So so I forgot about that, and I did put that artist cowl, that one that I started when Quilter died. I did put that on here, and the snarkometer that I never finished from
I haven't finished it either.
Yeah. So I did that, and a couple of things I'm like, oh, and you know what? In that WIP parade that I did at my house, guess what I found? I found the pattern that I had written out for that crochet vest. So one of my squares is to rewrite it, test it, and start a new one to get it so that y'all can buy it. I know some people were wanting to buy it. I'll put a picture here of her wearing it. So I found what I had, because I was like, I don't know where it is. I don't know. I thought I gave it to Eve. Maybe I didn't give it to Eve. I don't know where I put it. And I found it in one of my bags. And so I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to get that. And I even have it sized out, like thinking that for different sizes, how it might work. I don't know if I need testers for that or not, but it's just kind of a logical. I think I took some sizing measurements from like typical measurements for different sizes and worked that into how many squares you would need. So, but anyway, I'm gonna work on that. So that's one of my days. So I put that on there. Yeah. And I put little notes on here of like what I need. Like for my Aunt Mary Lou, she gave me that beautiful yarn. Remember, wants me to make mittens for her. Oh yeah. I'm like, I need to find a pattern for that. Yeah. I don't even have a pattern. I was looking, but I don't have one. So
what's nice about WIP-GO is that it really makes you, if you stick to it and try to work on it, it gives you a reason to work on something that you've set aside, and kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or even to reevaluate.
Yeah.
But I have your frog on here, Eve. So the last thing I want to talk about was that all of a sudden last night, my friend Donna Daniel messaged me and said, "Are you home?" I'm like, "Yeah, we just got home. We went out to dinner last night." So she came over and she said, "I have something I got for you way back in October." And it was a whole set of towels, so this is just one of them. And they're fall themed.
Cute.
Yeah. It says, "Thankful for my nomies."
Oh, that's cute.
So anyway, I just brought that because I thought that was adorable. But so I kind of feel weird, like knitting wise, because I finished all those big projects, and I'm just like. So I'm kind of glad to have the WIP-GO, like to sort of focus on things.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's really helped me finish stuff and focus my thoughts, because I have never been a person that just works on one thing at a time, whether it be working on painting and crocheting and knitting and drawing and now cross stitch and all this. A little too unfocused.
But anyway, so that's me.
Okay. Well, so I'm working on, let me think. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with,
Sorry.
I had
a lot of projects there.
Yeah, I do. This is all this stuff. So I have a finish. I can get it out. I left everything in my project bags because I got a mess. So this little guy, Frosty,
That's cute.
he's in teal, sort of.
My favorite color.
Yes. So I thought you would like it better than red.
Yes.
But there is a mistake.
Don't tell me one of your mistakes.
I put 2 squares here instead of 1 square between the R and the O.
Oh yeah, because I can tell.
And, well, because like I was doing this little tree over here, and the bottom of the tree, it was coming up. It was too close to the border. And I thought, what the heck? And I went down here. I was like, no, it's in the right place here, and it's in the right place here. And the half of the snowman was where I started to go before I went up to the tree, and I thought, well, that's a right place, and what it was is that because the T was in Frosty was what I was going off of, but the T is in the wrong place because the O is in the wrong place, so they're all shifted over one. So I put the tree and the frost and the snowman and everything else in the right place. So I had to unstitch a bunch of stuff. But what was surprising to me is this is very small. Even, I mean, this is 22 count Hardingers, and it's 1/1 the way I stitched it. So it's small to begin with, but I mean, it's small on this fabric, but it's not a very big pattern. It's like 62 by 40 something. And so I thought, oh, that's easy. I'll whip that out, for Eve, for Christmas. And I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't. Because it's a lot more stitching than it looks like with the hat and the trees and the snowflakes. It's just a lot of stitching. But this, so I was hoping that I could finish it as my last finish of 2022. But then we went over to Rachel's for New Year's Eve, and I worked on it for a little bit. But then we were all eating and doing whatever, so I just set it aside. So I didn't finish it in 2022, but it was my first finish of 2023. So it's done. And this was a freebie from Misty Purcell at Luminous Fiber Arts. It was in, I think, her newsletter for December. And so she had this little freebie, and I think I have a picture of it. Not in here. I have it in my bag.
That's a picture of it.
Yeah, but I have a picture of the pattern. The thing. Anyway, it was designed as an ornament, but let's see if I FFO it as an ornament or not. Then the other things I have are one of my WIP-GO pulls. I haven't worked on the second one. So for the number 10, I have several of my rabbit designs, and I haven't started those yet, because I'm working right now on my number 6, which is I'm doing the second part of this Sleepy Hollow pattern. And I guess I worked on it in 2022, last year. It's so weird to say that. As it was on my WIP-GO board, and I think, I don't know if I finished the first part as part of the WIP-GO thing, or whatever. But I had finished this top part, and I'm doing these as drums, and so there's a pattern for the top of the drum that I haven't done any of it yet. But So I had done part 1, so I'm working on
Is it-
part 2.
Sorry, is it 4 different drums?
Yes. Yeah, 4 different drums, 4 different tops, because the tops are related to the theme of the strip. So I had done the border and the writing, and one color of the grass, and so when I was working on it, I started working on I did the black for these tombstones, and since I had the black out, I started on these snowmen, skeletons, with their eyes and their little hip joints. So I was just kind of carrying the black, right, instead of starting and stopping and whatever. So I did the skeleton's hat and his eyes and his hip joints, and then I went on and I did these hip joints and these eyes, and then I started to kind of lose confidence in my counting, and I thought, I don't know, I don't want to make a big boo-boo. So I decided I would do the skeletons, and I used a toile to make them sparkly, so they're sparkly skeletons. And the stars that are going to be there are sparkly too. But as I got to the bottom of the pattern, where their feet are, I realized I had messed up this long green line, because there's gaps in there, partly for, there's the other shade of green that's in there, but partly for like where these pumpkins go, and where the skeleton's feet go in the grass, and they're in the wrong place. The gaps are in the wrong place. And I think what it is that right here where this second pumpkin is where you go from page 1 to page 2 of this pattern. And so I think I didn't look at it right. And and that's what I get for being a color completist. But so right here where the skeletons are, I just like stitched over the green with the toile. And I'll probably have to do that, as I go along, because there's 2 more skeletons that go beside that, and then there's a big tree. So I don't know how the tree is going to fit with the grass being the way it is, but I think I'm going to do all those before I do the second color of the grass, so that then that'll help me put it in the right place. So I can kind of fudge the green a little bit as I go along, but. So there's that. But today is I think I didn't stitch much of this on Monday. So today is Thursday. So today, but I think I started to stitch on it on Monday. So this is my 4th day, I think, of stitching on this. So I only had 6 days listed for my projects this time. So we'll see how far I can get in 2 days working on that one. And so, excuse me. And I also had a New Year's Day, New Year, New Start. And this is called Spicy Disaster. I'm not I'm not a hot mess. I'm a spicy disaster. And this is a kit, a Leisure Arts kit. So it comes with all the stuff, all the thread and the needle and fabric and stuff. And I was, I wanted to start it, but I had not, I have an aversion to stitching on white. White of any kind. I usually dye something, or find some other thing. Anyway, but I had not, dyed this, and I wanted to start it for my New Year's New Start. And of course, it's very very stiff, Ada, as usual. And I thought, well, it's okay. I can work on it. But then I thought, I didn't want to. And in my fabric stash, I had some. This is 28 count Carolina linen. So I'm doing it on this linen, and this is my counting thing. So this thread is on the wrong side, but I had already made a mistake, so I had to go back and pull all the leaves out so I could do them again. Because when I was putting these stems in, they were not coming out right. So I realized that I had already made a mistake, but I fixed it. So this is just my little start on this. So I worked on it. Would be longer, but I made a mistake. But yeah, so I'm working on the green of these flowers, and so there's like a whole bunch of you'll see. We'll put a picture in there, but there's a whole bunch of there's like little chili peppers and sunflowers, and there's a kitty cat and all kinds of stuff. So there's that. And then on my WIP-GO board, I have finishes. I talked about them last week. This safari elephant kind of thing, and Midnight Meow. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I was looking for stuff to finish it on, and I was thinking that I was gonna do like a frame, and so I bought some foam core because I thought, well, I can kind of pin it to the foam core and then find a frame. We went to
you went to Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby the other day, and I was, like I said, originally I was thinking I was gonna put the elephant in a frame, but I rethought that. I still might use the foam core, or I might use sticky board to mount it on, and then mount it on this thing. So first of all, we had to go to Walmart for other stuff, and so while I was there, I bought this little board. I think I might have to like go over it with like sandpaper or something because it's a little
There's
rough.
a spot here.
It's a knot.
It's a knot.
I don't like it.
I don't like
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, but I don't
So
like it.
so I bought this little board thing at Walmart, and it has a little hanger with jute, so you can hang it on the wall, and then that way I can just do a flat kind of finished thing and stick it on there. And I thought this because it's kind of this distressed whitewash would look good with that white of the elephant. And
Especially
then
if you put a nice fabric behind the stitching.
And then I bought this for the Midnight Meow.
Oh, that'll look good.
And because it looks like a fence, I thought it looked like a fence. But I also bought some black and yellow paint. And I bought they had a soft black and a regular black, soft black and lamp ebony black. And so I don't know which one I want to get, but it was 99 cents, so I got them both. And because I have a bunch of these, those inexpensive
Excuse me.
acrylic paints, but they're all like a million years old, so I don't know. Some of them are like goopy and yucky. So this one is yellow, cadmium yellow. So my thought was that I want to paint this black, and then I got a stencil that has some little stars on there and a moon. So I thought I could put some of these around the edge, and then put the little kitty cats.
See,
on
when she
there.
gets down to FFOing, she has all these great ideas. Did they see that sled that you made for me?
What?
For Christmas?
Uh,
my Christmas present from her?
I don't think I showed it here. I think I showed it on my.
It's on the coffee table over there because
Or in my little gnome house.
yeah, yeah, and
I'll
she
put a
put
picture of that.
she put little jingle bells down, and I'm like, okay, that's her, and look at her being all creative. It's just making her get around to it.
So, yeah, part of it is that I'm very lazy, and it's much easier to just stitch and then than it is to have to think and be creative and come up with stuff like this. But anyway, so at some point I'll
That's fun.
spend the day or two working on these. I want to put this in here because it was in the bag when I bought the stuff at Hobby Lobby, and it was like getting all smashed because it's not very thick. But so and when I was there, I went ahead and bought like this X-Acto blade thing because I thought it would help, cutting all over. I have we bought a craft dedicated rotary cutter.
We have a rotary cutter that we use only for foam core and things like that, and I have a big mat cut for for cutting. But I don't think she's used it even once. But it's there. It's there. You can use it, or you can use that.
And then I bought this little basket of I got fake sand dollars. I don't know. They look like sand dollars, though. They have them, and I thought I could make needle minders. They're about the right size. They're about the size of a quarter. So I just have to assess my magnet situation because I think I'm out of magnets. So I think that's about it.
And look how far my shawl is now.
I
I sat there looking at it, and I'm like, I missed the whole brown row, so there was a big mistake. And the gauge was so different from, it was very tight in the beginning, and then when I restarted it last night, it was very loose, and I thought, I don't like that. And I think I'm just going to start it over. But it's pretty. They're so pretty.
So for stories, I want to just explain why I'm coughing. I take several asthma medicines, and I was switching pulmonologists. And she apparently tried to send this prescription for my daily steroid inhaler twice in December. And they said, we never got it. I'm like, I am now out. We got to figure this out. We'll send a request over there. I don't know that she got that. So she called, they called, not my doctor, but the doctor's office, with me on the phone to CVS to try to figure out what the problem was. And they hung up on us. And so I went over there and talked to them, and they said, well, I'll send it now again, to request it. And I was like, make sure you're sending it to the right doctor. Still nothing. Meanwhile, I am out, for days. And we've had the fireworks, people going,
It was bad.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve?
New Year, it was even in the news how bad it was.
Yeah.
It looked like a dense fog, and it was just so much smoke from all the fireworks.
And people's fireplaces.
Yeah, well, that's some of that. But, and then with the weather the way it's been, finally, we called again yesterday morning, the two of us on the phone, and we waited and waited. She goes, I guess they're really busy. I'm like, yeah. And finally they came on, and what was the problem? Because they had told me when I went, the last time I went to the pharmacy, they said, well, the insurance denied it, and so they need to prescribe a different drug. And I said, well, that's odd because I've been taking it for years and they've had it, it's been okay. And I said, well, it is after the 1st now, since they didn't do it in December. And so perhaps they changed their formulary. I don't know, right? So when we were on the phone with them, they're like, yeah, the insurance is denying it. And that I was silent. It was just the doctor's office and her, and the lady from the doctor's office was fabulous. Now, this is called Lung Institute, and let me tell you, they mean business. She wasn't mean, she was polite. She's like, can you check and see why? It was because they were trying to put it through as generic, and the insurance company wanted them to use the name brand. So
usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, like 4 days without a necessary asthma medicine. I've been using my rescue inhaler to try to counteract some of that, but I'm like, I am not having fun. And I took the first dose yesterday, and I was like, I hope it evens out fast. But so that is why I'm coughing. That is my tale of pharmacy woes, and everybody has pharmacy woes, you know.
So my big surprise of the last couple of days was that on Wednesday, which was yesterday for us filming, I had watched, like, late in the morning, I had watched a FlossTube video. One of the guys people that I follow on FlossTube is a guy that goes by the name Ginger Gerald, and he cross stitches and he knits. He's the guy in the Friday After Grid Things series called Let's Teach Gerald How to Knit.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I follow his channel. So I saw a video popped up, and the title that he had put on there was "I broke a tooth." I thought, well, that's interesting. Let me see that. And so he talked about how he was eating a piece of caramel, and the caramel stuck to his tooth and pulled his crown off. And so he had to call the doctor's, the dentist's office, and they had to squeeze him in and check it out and all this stuff. And so I commented on this video. I thought, well, that I could relate to that, because when I was in graduate school in Bloomington, Indiana, where Ronald Pfeiffer lives, I had gone down for Thanksgiving to visit my aunt who at the time lived in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So I went to stay with her for Thanksgiving, and we went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is like a kind of a tourist town, whatever. And one of the things they had there was a taffy pull that you could look in the windows and see the machine going, pulling the taffy, and you could buy taffy there. So she had bought some, and on the way back at the end of Thanksgiving, I was meeting my friend in Tennessee in another town to drive back to school, and so she gave me some of this taffy, and I was eating a piece of taffy, and all of a sudden I bit down, and it was like very crunchy. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So I was pulling the crunchy junk out of my mouth, and it was one of my fillings that the taffy had pulled the filling out, and I had crunched it. And so since I was in school, I had to wait like 3 weeks or so for Christmas break to go home to Albuquerque and get it fixed. So I had this big, hole in my tooth, the back of one of these teeth next to my front teeth, because they're, my teeth are kind of like concave shaped or whatever. Fortunately, it didn't hurt or anything like that. But I was like, oh, that's so weird to have this, blah blah blah. So that was late morning, I guess, that I had seen that, and then that evening, after I had eaten dinner and I gotten a bunch of like little snacky things, and one of them was a piece of candy that I guess Mary Lou brought it. And it's like one of these, I've seen them before, but they're like strawberry candies, and so it comes like, the wrapper looks like a little strawberry. It's red on the bottom with little dots, and then green on the top where it twists. And it's kind of a hard candy, but it's not real hard, because the inside of it is like a strawberry goop inside there. So I put it in my mouth, and I had only had it in my mouth for a second, and I went to move it, and I thought, something's weird, something's on there. So I pulled it out of my mouth, and my tooth, my cap, like Gerald, the cap of my tooth was stuck to the candy. The crown of my tooth. Because I had a molar back here that I had a crown put on, and so I was like, what are the odds of that? I just read this story I just saw this video that Gerald had made about pulling his crown out, and then I did the very same thing, So, I texted Naomi, because I had been to this dentist. I guess it was 21 that we went to Greer. Yeah, and so I had a whole bunch of fillings because of my misspent youth, as I say, when I was very undisciplined about brushing my teeth and everything as a kid. And so I had, this rack of fillings everywhere, and a lot of my teeth were more filling than tooth and very susceptible to cracking, and that's what happened with this one back here. We were getting ready to go camping, and I had broken this tooth, and so I had this very sharp edge and a exposed thing and everything. So so Naomi had given me the name of her dentist, and he had done this crown for me, and so so when she gave me the name, I went to look him up and thinking, I'll call him first thing in the morning and blah blah blah, and they were still open. They're open till 7, I guess, and I didn't realize that. So it was really nice. So I was able to get a hold of somebody, and they were able to squeeze me in this morning. And so I was thinking they were just going to take a look at it. We were going to see what was the situation, and then I would schedule another appointment to fix it. But the doctor said, "Oh yeah, I can do that." And so it's like, okay. And so he went to use the drill, I guess.
Oh, because was it his crown?
Yeah, it was his crown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was nice. I didn't get a bill. I didn't have to do a copay or anything like that. So I don't know if it's but yeah. So they were able to. They had to like drill off the cement that was on there so that they could reattach it properly. And so when he was starting to do that, it had kind of a zinger there. So they went ahead and numbed me up. So I was like, because I thought he would just put the crown on and I'd be done, but no, they had to inject me, and I had to sit there and wait till it was all numb. And because of my stroke, the right side of my mouth is numb on the inside. I can't really chew on the right side. And so then he numbed up the left side, and so my mouth was just like, it felt like my lip was gigantic.
That's what happened to Eli. He's because of his brain surgery, he's numb on this side.
Yeah.
And then they numbed this side up, and then he must have chomped it, because a few days later he's like, "Mom, I feel all this weird like in my cheek," and I'm like, "Oh, you probably chewed your cheek up without realizing it."
Yeah, I tend to bite my tongue and my lip and my cheek all the time on this side because I can't really feel
when
it.
I lived in Florida, I lost a filling. I had no money to go to a dentist, and it didn't really hurt. But after, I don't know, more than a year, I came home, and I was at home in Albuquerque, and I was working at a craft store there in Albuquerque. And it started to hurt really bad. This tooth, still, there was very little tooth there. And I was in so much pain that the owner of the store was like, "What is going on?" And so I explained to her, she's like, "I bet it's infected." She said, "You need to go to a dentist today. Let me call my dentist." So she sent me to a dentist. And, she said, "Don't come back until you've seen a dentist and, can be not in pain." So this dentist, he took a look at it, and he said, "Well, it's really bad, and it's, I'll put a temporary filling in there. But then I want you to come in and get tooth cleaning, but you're going to have to come 4 times and pay for it every time to get the tooth cleaning." And I said, "I just want the filling. That's all I want." "Well, we're not going to put it in until your teeth are clean." And this dentist, I would go, and it was painful, this temporary filling. And I would go, and there was one time I went, and they said, "We don't have you scheduled for the day." I'm like, "Yes, you do. This is when my appointment was." "No, it's not." So my aunt, and meanwhile, I'm in a lot of pain because that temporary filling was not working. So my aunt gave me the name of her dentist. This guy was fabulous. And he said, I said, "I don't want you to tell me I need tooth cleaning. I don't want you to," I said, "I just want a filling." afterward, we'll talk about other things. And he goes, no, by all means. And he fixed it, and I was no longer in pain. And I kept going back to him, and I, in the meantime, I was working somewhere else and had dental insurance. So I was going and getting, regular checkups and x-rays and teeth cleaning and all that. And my teeth were in pretty good shape. And then we went out to eat. And there was a piece of metal in my food, some little round piece of metal. And when I bit on it, I sheared off half of the very back molar here. I was in immediate agony. And the restaurant said, we'll pay for your dental work. We'll pay for everything, And I was good with that. And at work, their company lawyer said, we'll sue them for you, no charge. And I said, I don't want to be like that. I should have taken them up on it. Because that has hurt me every day since then.
Oh, wow.
And so he went to put a crown on it. And because of the way it had been sheared off, it was the nerve was exposed, and it was firing.
Did you have a root canal?
No. And the first time he put the crown on, I couldn't bite, and he said, okay, we're going to have to adjust that. And then I was like, it still hurts. And when I got the crown put on, he kept trying to give me injections, and I'm like, no, it still hurts.
That's what
Yeah, it still hurts. And he goes, I can keep giving you these shots until it doesn't hurt, or we can just go ahead and do the work, because either way you're going to be in pain, either from the shots or from me doing the work. And later on, when and they tried to say, well, your tooth was already bad, the restaurant, and I said no, my dentist can provide x-rays to show that there was nothing. But after I couldn't go to that dentist anymore, I was going to a community dentist, and he wanted to pull a tooth. They wanted to pull a tooth instead of put a filling, because, poor people, let's just pull it. And I swear this guy went to climb on top of me to pull it. And I just started screaming. And he said, what? And I was like, I'm sorry, I just told you I had a very bad dental experience with pain. I'm going to need a minute. And he goes, well, then I can't help you. You're going to have to see some other dentists, because, it's like, well, that's nice.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a very traumatic event.
That's one thing that Dr. Jones said this morning.
Nesbitt.
Nesbitt.
Well, sorry. Anyway,
Joe Chandler Dentistry is the name of the Dr. Nesbitt. He said, I don't want you to have a bad dental memory, whatever, dental experience.
He is the nicest,
nicest
man.
What was nice
him.
is that when I was sitting in the chair, waiting to numb up, and when I had first walked in there, I was very hot, and so I had my jean jacket on, so I took it off, and I just set it on top of my purse on the counter, and got in the chair, and they looked at my tooth, blah blah blah, and they decided to go ahead and do it. So, like I said, they numbed me up. And so while I was sitting there all that time, I started to get a little chilly. And so I asked the nurse, could you just hand me my jean jacket, and I'll just, put it over me. And she goes, well, I can get you a blanket. We have blankets, And I said, no, I'll be okay with the jacket. And so, I was under my jacket, and then I was kind of still feeling a little chilly. And when Dr. Nesbitt came back in, he said, oh, let's get a blanket. So, get a blanket. And he helped the nurse, and they were putting the blanket on.
He's
and
so
cover up
sweet.
her ankles, stuff. And I was like, that's really nice. It was a nice fuzzy blanket. So, yeah. But, so...
They have to pretty much knock me out before I can go to the dentist.
So,
Yeah.
I get to, I can have shots, all kinds of shots, I don't care. You know, I had cortisone shots in my knee, you know, needles this long. And while it's painful, you know, it's like, you know. So that tells me how much that pain level was. But the dentist did tell me that the amount of caffeine you drink can affect it. And he said, so if you know you're going to have dental work done, don't drink caffeine that day. And he said, plus, before you ever show up, take some pain medicine, you know, some kind of, you know, oral pain medicine, because that can go toward starting it feeling better. But he always just gassed me up so that I could get the work done. He was great. But I don't know if he practices anymore.
I've always had like just, you know, injections, like I'll just, you know, in the roof of my mouth or, you know, everywhere, because I've had so much dental work done, you know, doesn't faze me very much. But I guess at some point I was having, I don't know, maybe my first crown or whatever. I was in Little Rock, and my dentist was a deacon at my church, and he was also my Sunday school teacher when I very first started going there. So I knew him very well, my friend Rudy. And but you know, so he was a dentist, and I when I started working full time, I had dental coverage and everything. I started going to him, and so when he was going to do this crown, they decided to go ahead and do gas, and so I had this so funny looking little nose mask.
Yeah, the nice face mask.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and so I'm lying there, and, you know, I kind of was starting to get the giggles, like they call it laughing gas, right? So I was starting to, like, felt a little, you know, like I was going to laugh, and I'm like, I don't want to start, you know, laughing and acting goofy because I'll see Rudy at church, you know. So I didn't want him to think, oh, you know. But yeah, so I was like fighting the urge to giggle, and yeah, it was really nice because like one time I had I had my wisdom teeth out. I had two of them done one time, and when I was in Albuquerque when I was a kid before I moved to Little Rock. And I just, you know, didn't have dental coverage for a long time until later, and the other wisdom teeth started bugging me because they would make my ear hurt or whatever. So anyway, so he maybe that was when I had the laughing gas. I don't know. But I saw him at church like a couple days later, and he's like, "Oh, how are you feeling? How's your tooth feeling?" I said, "Well, I have a little bit of a pain, you know, around my ear or whatever." So he goes, "It sounds like you have a dry socket. You know, you come in and we'll take a look at it." So yeah, he was able
That's
to.
not fair.
Huh?
That is not fair. that was your experience. I have a little bit of pain. I had dry socket and thought I was gonna die.
I remember.
It was awful. Awful.
I was trying to remember what it was.
Isn't that the same doctor that said, "I think you have a tumor"?
Yes, he's one. I went to him because I was having these weird symptoms, and I thought it was something oral related, and because I had come out here for Thanksgiving, and we had gone to like a Mexican restaurant and had I had some, you know, chips and salsa. And when I was eating the salsa, my tongue was popping, like, you know, like when those of you who are my age know the candy Pop Rocks, right? That's like carbonated, whatever. It pop, you know, you put it in your mouth and it, you know, bubbles, and that's how I felt. My tongue felt all bubbly, and it's like, you know, it just felt weird, you know, and then after a while it stopped, and you know it didn't go away for a few days, and then it stopped finally. And so anyway, I was explaining all these weird symptoms that I was having, and he says, "It sounds like you have a little tumor on the," what do you call it, the mandibular branch of your trigeminal nerve. I thought, what the heck, you know? And so I went, he goes, "You might want to see a neurologist about that." So, you know, I went to see, that was in December, and I went to see my doctor, my family doctor in in January, and I explained these symptoms and what Rudy had said, and so he sent me to a neurologist, and the neurologist suggested that it might be an acoustic neuroma, and that was the first time I'd heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I remember him like standing behind me, and like he had a tuning fork, and you know he was trying to see like how long I could hear it or where I could hear it, and he was put it on the base of my skull and things like that. And then I had an MRI done, and then he called me at home and told me that I had an acoustic neuroma. Mm. So yeah, Rudy was the one who suggested the neurologist, which you know. So yeah, I really like him, and
it's good that you didn't ignore these symptoms.
Yeah, it was, you know, and it was so funny because the beginning of it, I think that tumor was always affecting my facial nerve, because that was one of the things looking back that I had, you know how you always flip your pillow over to get the cool side or whatever, mm-hmm. that I would feel it on my face kind of strange, like cool and not cool and cool. And I had noticed that with a can also, it's like a cold soda can. I put it on my face because I was hot, and I felt this, you know, cold, not cold, cold. And it was it's that middle area of my face that was numb, on the outside, and you know, and so yeah, it was weird, but that was I had that kind of symptom before I even had any hearing loss at all. Because actually, when I went to see the neurologist and I had like a hearing test, I had very little hearing loss in my right ear at all. You know, and I thought, well, you know, my whole life I sat in front of brass players, mm-hmm. you know, playing in the orchestra. I've always sat in front of trombone players, or horn players, or trumpet players, and that can be damaging to your hearing, you know. And so yeah, but it very quickly, you know, deteriorated in this ear because of that doggone tumor. Yeah. But, yeah. So that was, yeah. So thanks to Rudy, I found it, you know, pretty quickly. Yeah. But, so those all are dental wounds.
So, you know, it's pretty frustrating when, you know, you go to the doctor about some symptom or other and they don't take you seriously. Like when you went to the ER about the gallstone, and they acted like, you know,
yeah,
I didn't think
about it at first, but like years later, looking back, I assumed that the doctor thought I was looking for like pain meds or something, because he dismissed my symptoms right away, and I went to my doctor, my family doctor, like the next day, because I was still having this, you know, weird pain, and I knew we talked about that I had gallbladder issues, and I had hepatitis before that. No,
that was in the hospital.
Afterward. No, I had gallbladder problems that fall, and it was in January, I guess, that I went to the ER.
Yeah, because during the marching band season, you were making love to a toilet bowl.
But I had this weird pain, and that was, you know, I described it as like a gallbladder pain, but in the wrong place, because I felt like I had swallowed a golf ball. I had this pain right here, rather than, you know, in the upper left quadrant, as you do with gallbladder pain. So I had a concert in the end of, I guess it was the end of February. We had a band concert on Sunday night and an orchestra concert on Monday, or the other way around. Orchestra concert on Sunday. And when I was getting ready for the orchestra concert, it was when I had this pain, and I was already dressed and everything. And so, you know, I had to go to the concert, and I was just like, you know, feeling like I had to throw up or whatever. But, you know, I couldn't, or I didn't, or whatever. But so I got to the concert, and I said I'm about to pass out, but I'm going to do the concert. But I had to tell the director, I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way through. But so we were playing, and like whenever we had long passages, or long notes, or whatever, where you don't breathe or whatever, I could see everything like going gray, like I was about to pass out. And so whenever I had a rest, I was like sucking air to clear my head and everything. And so by the end of the concert, it was fine. And my dad asked me, well, do you want to go to the ER? And I was like, and tell him what? I had a pain and now I don't, So then, but Monday, I still felt kind of crummy. And that day, I had a doctor's appointment in the morning for a blood draw for something else. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll see the doctor and blah, blah, blah. And I went and had this blood drawn, but I didn't see the doctor. I just saw the phlebotomist guy, and and I still felt kind of lightheaded. And I remember Eve told me, well, just, my aunt and my grandmother had an apartment that was near the university. She goes, well, just stay at their place and take a nap and rest and relax and get something to eat. And I had a rehearsal that afternoon for this band concert that evening. And so he said, just stay there and relax, and I'll come get you for the rehearsal. And so same thing with the rehearsal. I felt very lightheaded whenever I had long notes, whatever. But otherwise I was fine. And did the concert that night, and then I think it was after that concert that I had that pain again. And so this time we went to the emergency room, and my mom said the magic words, my daughter has a pain in her chest. And so they thought heart attack. So they took me to the back right away. And so I guess they realized then I wasn't having a heart attack, and they kind of just ignored me for a while. And then the doctor came in and said, asked me what was wrong. And I said, it feels like a gallbladder pain, but it's in the wrong place. And he said, well, what makes you think that it's, a gallbladder pain? I said, well, I don't. It's in the wrong place, but it's the same kind of feeling. And I was trying to explain to him. And so he said, oh, I think you just have an intestinal flu. And I don't remember them doing any kind of tests or any kind of like taking my temperature or whatever, I don't remember them doing that. But anyway, so he said, I think you just have an intestinal flu. And he gave me this pack of suppositories. And I thought, I looked at it, I'm like, I ain't taking those. And so I went to see my regular doctor the next day, and he took a look at it and he goes, yeah, don't take those. And he threw them in the trash. And so like I said, years later, I look back at it and I thought, he probably thought that I was just trying to get pain meds.
Yeah.
But so as a result of that, my doctor slapped me in the hospital, and they did a bunch of tests, and they found gallstones, and they figured out they went to go remove the gallbladder, and found that I had a stone lodged in this duct that goes from the liver to the small intestine. And that's right, I had hepatitis the month before the concert, and it was caused by that stone. And so if I had just gone with the ER doctor and he just blew me off,
Mm-hmm.
I could have been very seriously ill.
Mm-hmm.
But so it was I just went down this long weird path from having gallbladder issues to having hepatitis to having my gallbladder out to having the weird stone out of my common duct. Like all that spring I was sick.
So while I was married, my husband had a ganglion cyst, much like Beth's, but bigger. And our doctor, the same one that said, don't take those, he sent us to an orthopedist. And so the orthopedist arranged to have the cyst removed. And at that time, he was working for the cable company, installing cable. So he would get dirty because he was digging ditches and installing cable. But they said he could go to work after that, and that he had to come back I don't know, Thursday or Friday or something to have the stitches taken out. And I think it was a Thursday. Because he came home after his appointment to have the stitches taken out. And I took one look at that and I said, that's infected. I'm not a doctor, and I could look at that and tell it wasn't infected. One, it was green around the edges. Two, it wasn't completely closed. And three, it just looked ooky, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the matter with him? He goes, well, they were getting ready for some party or something, for opening up their new thing. And I said, he didn't say anything, and he said I could just go to work. And I was annoyed, but I was just like, well, he's the doctor kind of thing. But I was like, I think it's infected. And he went to work, and while he was at work, and it was a Friday, where the thing was, it blew up to a lump up that high above his wrist, like a little mountain. And he said it hurt really bad, and he was nauseated. And I said, don't come home, drive straight to that doctor. And so he did. But they had their offices closed because they were having a party, and they didn't want to talk to him. And so the doctor said, it's probably just irritated. I'm going to call the ER and tell them to, I don't know what, wrap it or something, and I'll deal with it on Monday. And so he called me and told me that's what they had said, and I was incensed. And I said, you need to go to the ER. And he goes, yeah, and he's supposed to call them and tell them what to do. I said, I don't know about that. Just go to the ER. But he had called. And the ER doctor said, I think you have an infection, and I'm going to give you antibiotics, but he has tied my hands that all I can do is XYZ, but I'm going to give you this prescription. The entire weekend, he was vomiting and felt horrible. And I don't think we saw him on Monday. I think we went back to Dr. Davis on Monday. And he took one look at him and said, we're taking you to the ER and you're having surgery. He was infuriated with that doctor. So he lost his job because it was so badly infected. He was in the hospital for a long time. So we had hospital bills, we had the orthopedist bills, we had the regular doctor bill, and he had no job. And I was, working just a little bit, but we had to pay the rent and other stuff, And I remember their office calling me because I was behind in payments to them. And I'm like, don't ever call me again. Don't ask me for a penny, because I'm like this close to making you pay for what you did. So when you have those good doctors, like my dentist and like your dentist that you saw today, and I've had other doctors that are, spectacular, but it just kind of brings home how bad the really bad ones can be.
Well, it's kind of, I'm waiting to see, tomorrow I get the stitches out of my hand for my little ganglion that I had. But my hand is actually, it's a little painful, a little sore. I keep looking at the incision to make sure it's not getting infected. But when I had a cyst removed here, it was like a little, it was still pretty, pretty tiny, but it was bugging me a little bit because as a bassoonist, I had this little, guard thing under my hand that I, played when I was playing, my hand rested on it. And at first it was very tiny, the little cyst, and kind of, and like a sesame seed or whatever, it was very tiny. But then toward the end of the season, it got bigger, like from like in the spring, I could feel it, and I thought, if it's bugging me, I don't want it to be in the middle of a season and have it be so painful that I can't play. So I think I you know, at the 4th of July, I guess 4th of July concert, I was thinking about. So I went to see my doctor, and he referred me to this hand doctor, but he operated at a teaching hospital, and so he only did surgeries like, you know, 2 days a week or something like that, and he was full, blah blah blah, and so we ended up having to postpone it. Anyway, so finally he did the surgery, and I remember I had, like, you know, hand therapy, you know, sessions afterward, you know, and so, you know, I was healing pretty well, and then, like, at one point I think I was done with the therapy sessions or something like that, but I was looking at it. Ouch! There's a dog stepping on me, and
She just knocked my phone somewhere.
and the little incision looked a little, you know, it looked a little swollen, and it wasn't, like, quite closing or whatever. And so I just called the nurse, and she said, "Yeah, that sounds like it's infected." So I called them antibiotic prescription, and, you know, it healed up right away after that. But it's like a little tiny, just a little line scar on the palm of my hand. This thing, when I take the bandage off and let it, you know, air out a little bit. It looks like worse than Harry Potter's scar on his head. You know, it's like.
Really?
And it's very ugly.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, and I'm like, was the doctor drunk when he stitched me up or something? You know,
God.
like, it looks awful. But yeah, and, you know, and the other day I went and bought these other bandages, because this is a little cheap, you know, bandage from Kroger, and they come off very easily. They don't stick very well. But I put this one on because I bought the other day at Walmart. I bought some that had a little bit stronger adhesive, but just in a couple of days it was irritating my wrists, and I took it off, and I had this big red mark under here from the adhesive. So I, you know, took it off and let it air out for a while, and but I put this on just to cover my ugly stitches.
Wow.
During, you know.
That's weird.
Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah,
it's
late.
getting late.
The dog is telling
Like,
me.
now you've
The
heard
dog is like,
our
I'm
whole
really
medical
hungry.
history. Sorry. I started my new job. I got a new job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that happened we didn't even know about it last time we recorded. So, okay, I have to tell the story. So, I've been thinking, like, I need a full-time job. I've been working part-time, and I'm like, I need full-time. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to leave the symphony. I love the symphony, but I don't think there's anything there, and I don't want to leave downtown because Eli works downtown. It's very convenient. And so on Friday morning, the 30th, I went to work, and I was actually actively looking around online and, like, sitting at work looking for a job. And I was about to go into HR and say to our HR manager, is there anything coming down the pike? Like, do you know of anything? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I saw her walking by, and I was like, I'm gonna go talk to her as soon as I can. And she comes over to my desk, and she's like, could you come talk to me and the finance manager? And I was like, yeah, sure. And, you know, I always think, whenever anybody says, can you come talk to me? I always think, I'm in trouble. But am I in trouble? Like, I was like my very first thought, but I was like, wait a minute. The finance manager has nothing to do with my job, so I can't be in trouble. And then a little bit later, she came over and said, can you come talk to us when you get a chance? I was like, yeah. So my assistant manager they were on a break, and they came back, and so I was like, I'm gonna go talk to them. And they know that I've been looking, you know, so they were happy for me. But anyway, so I go back there, and they're like, we want to offer you a job. And what they want is for me to work part-time in the finance department and part-time in the box office. So I'm going to be doing half and half. I got a raise and doubled my hours, so I'm like, yee! I was so happy. So I have that was Friday, and they're like, it's going to start next week.
Mm.
So I worked in the box office Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and today I worked sort of learning the ropes of my finance job, and I'm like, she's like, I know you're not an accountant. I know you don't. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to ask a million stupid questions, so just be prepared. She's like, no, I love it. And I'm happy, and I told them it is true. It's like, I really don't care what I do there. I just want to be there. I want to be in that organization. I love it. And so it's very exciting. So I have a little desk now, and here's my gnome. Rachel gave me this cutest thing. She gave me this gnome that has a magnet on its head and a magnet here, and you can change the hat and the little hands for the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I have it right now like a winter snowflake. It's so cute. And I put him up there on my desk and everything. I'm sorry. I'm yawning. It's late. We had to record late because now I'm full time, so now I got to find a different time to record. And but anyway, so that's my exciting news.
Yeah.
And
And
you know, in the
no trips to the doctor were involved.
Yes, yeah, nothing medical. And I, you know, in the box office, a lot of times those phones don't ring, and you know, I pull out my little bust knitting, and I can sit there and kind of knit. But this job, I was like, and where they found me to my desk is in this little annexed part of the office, and the finance manager is all the way in the back of the other side, the big office. So I was like, woo, woo, woo. So I walked by my friends in the box office, like, this job is cutting into my knitting time. It was very inconvenient. But now I got to think of something to knit for my new boss. I'm going to knit her something. I don't know what. Maybe I'll knit her a couple of coasters or something. Anyway, she's very sweet. She's like so great. So it's exciting. Anyway, congratulations to me. Thank you for joining us for one more week, and we hope your new year is going well. I saw this thing on Casapinka on Sharon from Security's Facebook thing, like, what's your New Year's fail resolution? In other words, if you don't do it, you win. I was like, I'm going to overcommit myself and knit a million things for other people and disappoint everyone. That's my New Year's fail resolution. Anyway, hope your New Year's going well, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.